Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick video on how to use the Lakeside Sailing Club RaceControl app, which is still under development. Just to quickly go through what's available on it and hopefully help the officer of the day use it for testing. Okay, so main screen, I'll go from the top. If I press help, there's buttons for each of the major functions. So if, for example, I press race, then it should tell you how to use it. It scrolls if necessary. You can change the size of the font. It cycles through a set of fixed fonts and then goes back to the small. As I say, you can select other options. I'll come out of that because I don't want to waste too much time on that. So the main thing is to capture race timings. But if I went to race now, I say that there's 3 boats set up in the race. Okay. Well, let's just go back and show how that happened. Then, if I go to fleet info, you'll see the same 3 boats are selected. If I took the 3 boats off, no boats are selected. And if I went to race, I'd get an error message to say there's no boat selected for race, because obviously there'd be nothing to time. So we go back to fleet info. These are the default fleet information built into the app, but if you want to change one, let's select the top one. If I press and hold it, then I get a dialogue where I can change the helm, the boat. I'll just put this back to David, and you can change the PYN and the sail number and such. So if I press save, I didn't get that right, did I? I put DAF if. Right, let's just get rid of that. Shows you can edit it. And now if I want to select some for racing, I'll select that one anyway. I'll select Tony in the Comet, Katrina in the Solo, John Bentley in the Challenger, Stephen the Supernova, and myself in the Standard Laser. Okay, you can there's some of the empty ones at the bottom we could predefine for the fleet as we go along. Yeah, I'd have to change the app if we wanted more, but that's not a problem. So if I go from there, if I now go to race, the boats that are there are visible. We can't select them at the moment. It'll come up with an error message saying there's no race in progress. Let me just check whether I've got debug set on. Debug is off. Okay, well, let's leave it like that for a minute. So if I do, normally you wouldn't have to worry about that, but because it's something irrelevant, I need to worry. So if I'm all ready to go, we hit the beep, 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 and then when we press the start hooter for 5 minutes, bang, we get a reminder on this. Now, I don't want to spend 5 minutes watching this video, so just to show you that there's another feature of aborting a race should this have not been right. You do the general recall. If you press and hold the clock, it'll show it's aborted and reset it. So I'm just going to nip to the debug and switch it on. I'll switch the sound off because you've heard what the horn sounds like. And then we'll press start again, and it's just going to do a quick 3-second timer. You can see the reminders for the flags there, and we're off. The clock's counting at the top left. Boats are sailing around the course, and when they get to the first lap, you need to identify which one's coming through the timing point. Let's say who would be the fastest. Let's say Tony, if he goes through first, then I click on him, and it shows that he's only taken 17 seconds to pass lap, and he's done 1 lap. The idea of each lap is a different colour to try and help you identify which boats haven't gone through the timing points and which is next. So I'm just going to tap them off now. So 1, 2, so they're all on first lap now, and then they go around the lap again. If I come back to the second lap, this time David's gone through first, and then Tony, then Katrina, and you can see the colour is helping you to show which ones haven't gone through the lap. Now, let's say if you made a mistake and you press Katrina instead of Tony, if I press Katrina and then, oh, damn, I should have pressed Tony. Press Tony and then hold on Katrina and it'll take it back off. And now Katrina, let's say David goes through, then Katrina, and then myself and such like, and so forth. The other thing about it is, let's say somebody's struggling and they don't make the lead lap at the end. So they've all finished except me, and so because I'm a lap behind, if I press end race, then it will use average time to average lap time to calculate the end time and so the corrected time. And there you can see it's showing now that John Bentley actually came first, Katrina second, Dave third, and Tony fourth. Right, okay. So that's the end of the race. Now we can either come away from that and go straight for review results if we wanted to see them in detail. Again, you can change the fonts. Or we can, if I go away and go back to race, it's retaining it. We can save it, and it puts it away in a text file that we can export or come up later. So the other thing to note is, say another boat's joining the next race. If we forgot to reset that and we went to fleet info, it would tell you can't do that because it would screw up the results. So basically, when you're ready and you're finished with those results, then you would press reset, and it goes back to starting point. And then if you go to fleet info, you can say I'm not racing in the next race, and John isn't either. Then you can take them off, and then when you go back to race, there'll only be those that are highlighted. Okay, and I think that's about it. If I just go back to review results, it's now saying there's no live data, but if I press and hold it, I can select a file, select for review, and there's that race we were just looking at. And you probably notice on the right hand side there's curly brackets for those. That signifies it's in seconds rather than minutes and seconds, which is what we tend to use for the calculation, so I'll leave it like that as the default. I think that's it. Settings wise, if you don't like the sound, you can switch it off. If I switch seconds are off, if I just go back to review results quickly and bring up the last one, then you'll see that the finish and corrected time is in minutes and seconds rather than seconds, and that's all that setting does. The default is for seconds to be on, debug off, and sound on. So there we go. Just ignore the other information there. That's for me to help me develop the app, and so it's just dumping out the information that's inside the app. And the last button is exit, which takes it out, and it saves the fleet information such as it was, which is why I had 3 boats ready to race at the beginning. Okay, hope that helps.